The sky over Tel Aviv splits open, not with one explosion, with dozens. Iranian ballistic missiles carrying cluster munitions detonate mid-air at 7 kilometers altitude, releasing up to 80 smaller bomblets that scatter across an 8-kilometer radius. Each submunition carries 2.5 kilograms of explosives. Each falls unguided toward the city below. And as Israeli air defense batteries fire interceptors desperately trying to stop the barrage, the question becomes obvious: how did we get here? February 28, 2026. Israel and the United States launched the largest coordinated strike operation in modern Middle East history. Over 200 Israeli fighter jets overfly Iran simultaneously. F-35s, F-15s, F-16s. Supported by US air power including B-2 stealth bombers. The target list includes Iranian leadership, nuclear facilities, missile sites, air defenses, and Revolutionary Guard infrastructure across Tehran, Isfahan, Qom, Karaj, and Khorramshahr. Within the first 24 hours, Israeli Defense Forces conducted 700 strike sorties. By March 4th, that number reached 1,600 sorties, dropping 5,000 munitions on approximately 500 targets. Israel destroyed the covert nuclear compound at Munition, where Iranian scientists worked on weapons programs. They hit 2 facilities in Isfahan, storing advanced Gadra ballistic missiles. They neutralized over 300 missile launchers before they could fire. And in the most consequential strike, they killed SupremeLeader Ali Khamenei, along with his daughter, son-in-law, and multiple Iranian security commanders. Iran's response came immediately and has not stopped. Hundreds of ballistic missiles, over 2,000 drones, launched not just at Israel, but at US bases across the Middle East in at least 11 countries including Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, and Jordan. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps warned it would hit all economic hubs in the region, and they deployed a weapon that changes the tactical calculus: cluster bomb missiles. The Khorramshahr missile system represents Iran's most capable platform for delivering these munitions. Range of approximately 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. Payload capacity of 2 tons. And critically, cluster warhead variants carrying between 24 and 80 submunitions depending on the model. Israel Defense Forces confirmed Iran has launched at least 5 cluster-equipped missiles since the conflict began, targeting densely populated civilian areas including Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Here's how cluster missiles work. Traditional ballistic missiles carry a single warhead weighing 500 to 1,000 kilograms that detonates on impact. Cluster warheads operate differently. After the missile reaches altitude, usually around 7 kilometers above ground, the warhead casing opens. Submunitions eject. They spread across an 8-kilometer radius as they fall. Each bomblet carries approximately 2.5 kilograms of explosives, comparable in destructive power to short-range rockets used by Hamas or Hezbollah. The tactical advantage is obvious. Instead of one explosion at a single point, you get dozens of explosions scattered across several square kilometers. Air defense systems designed to intercept single warheads face a much harder problem when that warhead fragments into 80 smaller targets mid-flight. And the bomblets don't have guidance systems. They simply fall, exploding on impact wherever they land. On March 1, submunitions from an Iranian cluster warhead struck multiple locations across central Israel. One bomblet hit a home in Azor, south of Tel Aviv, causing structural damage. 12 people were wounded in that attack. Since February 28, Iranian missile strikes have killed at least 11 people in Israel and injured over 1,000. And the attacks continue daily. Multiple salvos launched each day from early morning through evening. The humanitarian concern goes beyond immediate casualties. Not all submunitions explode on impact. Some fail to detonate, becoming de facto landmines scattered across urban areas. Israeli Home Front Command issued warnings not to approach missile debris, alerting citizens that unexploded bomblets could detonate if disturbed. Effectively, cluster munitions turn civilian areas into minefields that remain dangerous long after the initial strike. This is why cluster munitions are internationally controversial. The 2008 Convention on Cluster Munitions bans their use, production, transfer, and stockpiling. Over 111 nations have signed. But critically, Israel, Iran, and the United States are not signatories. Neither is Russia or China. That legal gap allows their use in conflicts where signatory nations aren't involved, even though human rights organizations condemn them as indiscriminate weapons, posing disproportionate civilian risk. Iran's cluster munitions program remains partially opaque, but evidence exists. In 2015, Iranian authorities displayed a Fateh missile variant equipped with 30 submunitions, each weighing about 9 kilograms. Western analysts identified the Qadr-S ballistic missile as carrying cluster warheads with 2,000-kilometer range. The Khorramshahr system, Iran's most powerful, reportedly carries up to 80 submunitions. Other platforms, including Zulfiqar and Qiyam missiles, may be adaptable for cluster payloads. Questions immediately arose about external assistance. Did Russia or China provide cluster munition technology to Iran? Open-source intelligence lists Iranian holdings, including Russian KMGU dispensers and ProSab 250 cluster munitions. British BL-755 cluster bombs also appear in stockpiles, likely acquired before the 1979 revolution. Whether recent technology transfers occurred remains unconfirmed, but the sophistication of Iranian cluster systems suggests external expertise. The Israeli response to cluster attacks has been uncompromising. On March 4th, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that American and Israeli strikes on Iran would increase in intensity. Israeli F-35s destroyed 20 Iranian missile launchers detected preparing to fire, including advanced Garda and Khorramshahr platforms. Israeli intelligence used satellite imagery and signals intelligence to locate the launchers, then diverted fighter jets already operating in Iranian airspace to destroy them before launch. The operational tempo is staggering. Israel maintains hundreds of aircraft over Iranian airspace, conducting continuous strike waves. They've hit over 600 targets described as terror sites. They've neutralized Iranian air defenses systematically. They achieved the first Israeli air-to-air kill in 40 years when an F-35 shot down an Iranian Yak-130 combat aircraft. And simultaneously, Israel continues strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon after Hezbollah restarted attacks following Khamenei's death. For countries watching this conflict, including the Philippines, several lessons emerge. First, air defense effectiveness depends on layered integration. Iranian systems, including Chinese HQ-9B batteries, failed to stop the initial Israeli strikes, exposing vulnerabilities to stealth aircraft and electronic warfare. Second, cluster munitions represent a tactical response to advanced air defenses by overwhelming interception capabilities through sheer numbers. Third, modern warfare increasingly blurs lines between military and civilian targeting when combatants use indiscriminate weapons in urban areas. The regional implications ripple outward. Hezbollah declared war on Israel. Qatar reportedly shot down 2 Iranian bombers after Iran attempted to strike Doha's airport. Gulf states including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain condemned Iranian strikes while some criticized US-Israeli actions. The conflict has expanded beyond Israel and Iran to engulf the entire Middle East in a way not seen since the Iraq War. And the humanitarian toll continues mounting. Thousands killed in Iranian protests before the war, 11 dead in Israel from missile strikes, over 1,000 wounded. Civilian infrastructure damaged, unexploded ordnance scattered across urban areas. all while diplomatic efforts struggle to contain escalation that both sides show no willingness to stop.